Hey, hello. We're live at Bluford Library. Rick Usher here with Maleika Robinson and Daniel Serda, Jake Evans. We're talking about the KC-CUR Small Business Opportunity Survey. And how long has the survey been out?
Let's see, this is the fifth week. This is, no, this is the sixth week. Yep,
Yeah,
this is week
six.
six. And the purpose of the survey is we want to hear from businesses that are located in the UNI area. So maybe we should take a step back. Let's talk about what KC-CUR is.
Yeah,
first.
do that.
Why
I'm
we
going
even
to try to tweet a link too, so maybe we can get some viewers.
Okay.
So I'm not ignoring you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, you want
Can we
to talk
start
about
there? Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about KC-CUR.
So KC-CUR launched a couple of years ago, and the basic idea, we're working on Greater Kansas City LISC, the City of Kansas City, the Urban Neighborhood Initiative, UNI, as well as the Mid-America Regional Council and the Urban Land Institute came together a few years back and tried to identify ways to create catalytic development in targeted commercial corridors on the east side. There were 3 commercial corridors identified as part of that work: the node at 31st and Troost, an area on the north end of Prospect between about 22nd and 33rd Streets, and then the 39th Street corridor between basically 71 and Prospect.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea was to try to identify early stage investments that could happen in each of those places in commercial properties that would both help revitalize those areas, but more specifically create a platform for small and minority businesses to really locate and prosper. So this survey is being undertaken specifically with that goal in mind. We have our target areas and we're trying to figure out what the needs of businesses are, if they're growing, what their capital access needs are specifically, and then also what they need in the way of technical support that's provided by what we would call ESOs or entrepreneurial support organizations here in the city. Our end goal ultimately is to try to revitalize these specific districts, but one of the things we're trying to do through this survey, Maleika, you can pick up here and talk about this. The first thing we need to do is find out who's out there.
Right.
Yeah.
So this project has 3 parts to it. One of them that you may have seen us coming through your neighborhoods. And first is an inventory of businesses, women-owned and minority-owned businesses in the UNI neighborhood. So we are focused from Truman Road to 52nd Street, from Prospect to Troost. And so that's the area of businesses that we've been circulating around, coming through, talking to people, calling people. You may have received some phone calls in the last 2 weeks. We've been calling everyone on this list. So just identifying and validating what businesses are in this area, and which ones, we are particularly, while we want all businesses to thrive, one of the things that we're focused on is how do we really get minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses to stay, grow, and maybe even if you're not in this area, to possibly see the Near East Side as a place where you can grow your business. What I like about what KC-CUR is doing, so let's just even say what that stands for. So it stands for Kansas City Catalytic Urban Redevelopment Initiative, right? And so the idea is that there are areas already in this kind of the neighborhood, again, from Truman to 52nd, from Prospect to Troost. There are those 3 areas that Daniel mentioned that are already in motion. There's already some traction happening. There's energy around those areas. And so the idea is, what kind of investments can LISC and their partners make into those areas that can help that catalytic, so help to accelerate that. And so for the businesses that are already located in those areas, what do you need? So how can LISC and their partners, so UNI and LISC, how can they work together to provide, if there is some financial support, or some kind of equity or funding or debt, what can we put together that will help to address the need? Or is there, when we say technical support, we're talking really about business support. So what is it that you need? Is it more learning about how to do the back end of your business? Is it accounting? Is it technical assistance, like you really do need some software support? Is it learning some things about human resources and how to hire people, how to develop? Is it leadership? What are the things that businesses need in order to grow their businesses and thrive here in this area? Because as these areas grow, we want the businesses that are here to also grow with it. And so that is why we're reaching out to businesses in this area. I think Rick is tweeting the link to the survey. And so if you have a business that's in that area, and we haven't talked to you, but we probably have called you, so listen to your voicemail. But if we haven't gotten to you, there is a survey, and we'd love to hear from you and find out more about what you need.
We have physical copies of the survey here. It is available as a downloadable PDF that you can print and fill out. It's also primarily online. It's an electronic survey that you can fill in through the Serda Collaborative website. It will take, 8 to 10 minutes to complete the survey. It asks some fairly specific questions about where your business is located, what your business specializes in, what your revenues are like, but then also really delves into, as Maleika was suggesting, questions about what are your capital needs, what are your, whether it's technical support in the way of learning, or it's technical support in the way of these additional professional services you might need access to. To our knowledge, no one has ever sort of deliberately undertaken an effort to identify and sort of map the landscape of entrepreneurialism on the east side. I think what you tend to hear is an assumption that it's sort of hollowed out and there's not a lot of activity going on. We know there are businesses out there, and we've identified 81 MBEs in this area. So part of what we're trying to do is sort of draw a picture of what the complexity of those business types are like. I think there are businesses of the sort that people would be very surprised to learn, and more importantly, that they're minority owned. So we're being very intentional about this as an effort to really be inclusive and to diversify the base and build up minority businesses. We know that there's challenges that are fairly specific, especially access to capital to minority businesses because of other inequities that exist in society. And so we're really just trying to get our arms around first, what are those challenges? And then how can we actually structure investments and structure programs and initiatives in ways that are not only helpful, but really meaningful and inclusive and likely to be impactful over time.
So in your search for businesses, have you worked with the Human Relations Department on, we have a database of small local business entities and minority owned MBEs, WBEs?
Yes, so we received a listing from the city about the WMBEs within that area. And then our goal also is to be able to uncover people who aren't officially designated, right? So the business is owned by a minority or a woman, but they haven't gone through the program. And that's one of the questions that we're asking. Have you attempted to get that, or have you thought about getting it? And quite honestly, many of the research that we're coming back to answers is people don't know about it. So I'm glad to hear, that BizCare is doing some work around that. The other thing that's been interesting is there are quite a few home-based businesses that are really driving some nice revenues, but they're working out of their homes. And sometimes those things are overlooked, right? Because you don't see them driving down the street. So the idea is that, there's not a lot of businesses here, but there are people who are running and have well-established businesses that are run from their home.
Yeah, we've talked about that, I think in the past, this opportunity that high-speed internet, Google Fiber presents in most neighborhoods, really. In this Prospect corridor, there's some neighborhoods that didn't get built out, but gigabit speed internet offers people this opportunity to work from home or create businesses at home. I've been holding these office hours trying to find those people that are running businesses from computers out here, and I don't want to, just go tap people on the shoulder and say, "Are you running a business?" But it is an overlooked opportunity that we have to help promote that and bring people together. So it'll be interesting to see what your survey results are. We have a business survey we do citywide that we're about to put out again.
Right.
And just lack of awareness of these services is number one thing. So by coming here and having these office hours is part of the way I try to promote that and go into meetings. But when we get this back, there's some other things we can do to just more intentionally get out in the community.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other things that I think is common is I think there tends to be a little bit of unintentional biases about thinking about businesses as primarily being in the retail sector.
Right.
So when you see vacant retail spaces, especially, there's this superficial impression, well, the businesses have all sort of gone away. But one of the things that's very true about a lot of lower income and working class areas is there are often a lot of small, light industrial type businesses. There are small manufacturers. There are small distributing businesses. And what we've discovered is some of them are minority owned and they're very active. They have a very quiet presence in that they don't necessarily have a storefront or a shingle, but some of them are doing millions of dollars in annual revenue. And so again, part of the purpose of this is to create sort of a landscape map so that people understand there's more economic activity than meets the eye happening in neighborhoods like those on the east side. But by the same token, even those businesses sometimes struggle with access to both the educational and technical support that they need, as well as access to capital. Sometimes it's just a function of the nature of the business. You know, there are businesses that are really poised for potential growth, but the day in, day out, role for a small business owner of running that business is so much. We've actually heard that from people that, you know, I'm so busy making the business go that doing something extra like this takes kind of extra effort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you working with Jamila Jones at EUC?
No, we haven't talked to EUC. We've just really been on the ground. Really, you know, walking doors and phone calls and showing up to public meetings where we can, where people are there.
Prospect Business Association.
Yes, exactly. That's one of the areas. And then also just engaging where we can. You know, I have a team of people that are working with us and they're very engaged in the community. And so getting to see those people out and about and having those conversations. And the conversations, so I've had the opportunity to also, we'd love for you to take it online, but I have also had the ability to have conversations with people in person to kind of walk through the survey. Because quite honestly, when you're running your business, getting people to stop what they're doing and take a survey is challenging. But I'd like you to, you know, consider taking 10 minutes to do that. But I have had the opportunity to have conversations with people in person. And just, it's so interesting to find their businesses here. Again, many of them are home-based businesses and they're located here, but maybe they have some stuff some other places, storage other places, but they're running these businesses really out of their home and they've been in business for 10 years, 15 years, and don't know about some of the resources in the city that are available to them in terms of learning how to scale their business and other things. And it's just it's been very interesting and eye-opening to talk to people.
And we have Global Entrepreneurship Week coming up. A lot of activities there that people with home businesses could get involved in.
Yeah, so Entrepreneurship Week is, I think it's November 16th, November 20, let me see. It's the weekend, it's the week right before Thanksgiving, and it's going to be on 18th and Vine. So it's November 18th through the 22nd, and it's going to be located on 18th and Vine. So for these small business owners that are here listening to us, that's another place to plug into other things that are happening.
So what's the most interesting question in the survey?
The most interesting question, you know what? This question about, there is a question in the survey about a succession plan. And this is not something typically, I think, that we talk about, but many of these businesses have been established for quite some time. There are some local haunts that we look at and we know have been around. And just asking the question about, do you have a succession plan in place? Meaning, have you thought about if something happens to you tomorrow, how would this business continue on? Because that is part of the ideas. We don't want the business to go away. We want the business to be able to stay and grow and thrive. but who is ready to step up and run that business? And have you done any of the financial and legal paperwork to ensure that the business stays in the right hands? And,
Yeah.
you know, just even having that thought process that you should be thinking about that, because we never think it's gonna happen to us, right? We're running our business, we're focused on that, but just the idea that I do need to also think about, how do I make this into legacy? You know, how do I hand this?
Yeah, or having the right kind of insurance if there is a catastrophic loss of a founder. But we have so many conversations around generational wealth building and closing the racial wealth gap that is a very significant question here. Then how do you do succession planning? We have that conversation in local government.
Right,
You know,
right.
And every business should consider that. And that's how your, I'll call it back later, that's how your family businesses grow. We got long histories of that in Kansas City.
The other interesting thing, so we have lots of sources of capital on here. One of the things that I've seen so far is when we talk about the sources of capital people use, most people that we've talked to start with personal say, you know, personal funds or personal credit. Not even necessarily friends and family. So we have a lot of people that are starting their businesses that way. So even the idea about how can you use debt to leverage and grow your business is, I think, a conversation that we need to have, because if you have started your business with your own savings and it's your baby, you've been growing this thing, the idea of getting debt might seem overwhelming. Like, do I want to have debt to fund this building? But how can we leverage debt to actually, I don't know, build another, you know, expand your business or buy new equipment, or fix the storefront of your business or hire more employees? Like, how can you leverage debt if you know that that's going to increase your revenues in order to do that?
And if you're buying equipment, what incentive programs are there through, like the Port Authority, I believe, has some, and the EDC has some programs, maybe the state tax benefits that businesses can take advantage of, which is just all the more reason to have that awareness of what's available out there in the community.
One of the challenges sometimes for businesses, literally where you've got your head down or you're working day to day and you don't have time to look up and you kind of catch your breath, is that sometimes you might not be aware of what programs are out there, what resources are already there, or even if you're looking at traditional lending, whether you're likely to get that kind of need financed or not.
Yeah.
And
watching your credit score.
Exactly.
Credit
So again, there are a lot of pieces, as Maleika is suggesting, about navigating debt that suggest that there are issues not just with the actual access to lending capital, but also the need for education about how to best navigate the process, and also how to do it in a way that you're not taking on any more risk or any more burden than you're ready to do or that you ought to be doing. You know, it's unfortunate that, especially in lending, there are predatory lenders out there that try to make things seem easy. But
so here we got to give a shout out to Dan Smith. Hello, Dan.
Hey,
Thanks for joining.
So I'm going to step away. So I'm going to leave you guys here. But I would, again, if your business is in between Truman Road to 52nd Street, and it's between Prospect and Truce, there is a little bit of carve out. But if you're in that general area, so even if you're like a couple of blocks off of there, we still want to hear from you. You can get to the survey at www.eastsidecollaborative.com/KC-CUR. And Rick is putting it in the chat notes so you can get that.
What was that again? Sorry?
www.eastsidecollaborative.com/KC-CUR.
KC-CUR.
Yep.
Boom.
All right.
There it is.
Nice chatting with you.
Yeah.
And
Thank you, Maleika.
I gotta go.
We do have flyers and physical copies of the survey available here at Bluford.
Oh, okay.
Behind. So if you're not able to make it to the website, or if you'd rather do it on paper, you can pick up a copy here with the flyer. Is it the reference desk?
Uh-huh. Let me see if I can get that. All right, I got it posted there. At the reference desk. All right, cool. Well, all right, so I think that does it for the live portion of our office hours. Hey, join us every third Monday of the month here at Bluford Library, 3 to 5 p.m. for office hours. Thanks.
Thanks, friends.